Well, hey folks, over the last 6 months or so, I've received an awful lot of messages from folks that have written in saying that they've been inspired by my videos to live a bit simpler lifestyle. Lots of folks are out buying land, are in the process of building cabins, some have already built their cabins, they've been sharing their cabin experiences with me. I just want to say good for you guys. Sometimes downsizing, living life at a bit slower pace can be so much more rewarding. I want to congratulate you all. I'm certain you'll enjoy your cabin time as much as I do. Now, the one subject that comes up the most is off-grid lighting. A while back, I posted a series of alternative methods that I used over the years. I give my opinions from my experiences with them. But quite frankly, folks, you just can't beat the electric light. Nowadays, with the LED bulbs we have available, you can be running around a 60 watt equivalent where you're only burning maybe 6 or 7 watts of actual power. You just can't beat it, and it works out great for little off-grid cabins like this. So I'm going to show you the way that I have this set up here. Before I do so, I want to mention that this is not a how-to video, it's a how-I video. The reason I say that is my system here is very, very basic. I am not an electrician. I've never been trained in the field of electricity. I am in no way, no how, an authority on the subject. So if you have technical questions, please seek out an electrician to get the answers to those questions. I'm just making this video by request to show how I achieved electric lights here at the cabin. In a normal household, the power comes in from the utility company. It's fed into a breaker box. Then it is distributed throughout the house on individual circuits. In most cases, each room will have its own individual breaker. It's done that way, so if you're running high wattage appliances in different rooms, such as toaster ovens, space heaters, things of that nature, you won't be overloading your system. If it was one continuous loop like that, it would become very dangerous if you were running high wattage items throughout the house. So it's done with individual circuits. Now here at the cabin, I'm running very little power. At any time, the highest wattage item I might run would be my laptop or a fan occasionally. If I'm using a power tool, I'll be running straight from my generator. So I have this wired up in a very simple, very basic technique. What I did was I wired the cabin with one continuous loop of 12-2 wire. It starts in an outlet and it goes along and piggybacks from outlet to outlet to outlet. Some places it forks off to a switch to a light. All the lights are LEDs, which are running 4 to 6 watts. I could run every light in the cabin and not be burning much power, but I'm frugal with the lights anyway. If I'm powering the cabin straight from my generator, what I do is I have an exterior outlet here. This runs one string of 12-2 wire to another outlet, and it goes no further. It's a dead end from point A to point B. I run the generator, I plug in to this outlet, which is feeding this outlet, but the power is going no further. I use a short double-ended extension cord, and I plug in from this outlet to this outlet, and now the whole cabin is running on the generator. If I want to run on battery power, I simply unplug from here and I plug it into my inverter. The inverter is hooked to the battery. The battery is putting out 12-volt DC power. The inverter switches it to AC power, and now I'm running the same lights and switches that I was running on the generator. I will show this in closer detail. Now this outlet here is just part of the continuous loop throughout the camp. This one is just a straight shot to an exterior outlet in the skirting. Here I have my inverter, just a cheap $39 inverter. And this battery was the battery I used in my boat in 2010. See that? 1210. That's how old this battery is, and this is 2016. And I'm running the camp on that one battery because I'm using LED lights. And as long as I'm not charging my laptop off of the battery, I can go probably 3 days or so on this battery. And again, you can see right here, it's 2010. Okay, this battery is 6 years old and was used in my boat. So I'm running on 12 volt power right now. The inverter is connected to the battery, very simple. And then I have a extension cord, short extension cord with a male plug on each end. And this one is plugged into the camp and is feeding power into the camp, and the whole camp is powered up. If I'm running straight on the generator, I unplug from here and I plug it in there. The generator would be plugged in to the exterior outlet, and I'm running. I never unplug this one. The reason being, if I unplug this, I could accidentally put it into there and feed power from the generator into my inverter and ruin everything. So as long as I never unplug this one, now this could be hardwired right into that, but I'm using it this way. Just as long as I never unplug this, this is the only end that I unplug. And I could put a little flag on here. If there was other people using this system, I would have a little flag on here that says only unplug this end. Because that way, if I unplug from here and then plug into here, I would be running feed from the generator. Then if I plug it from here, I'm running from the battery. And I can't ruin anything. I always mark my batteries with a strip of red tape on the positive side. Red is always positive. If you're working in dim light or you're thinking about something else, it's very easy to make a mistake. So I just go color-coded like that. It simplifies everything, as you can see. I've got that other battery there. Simplifies everything, red to red. See, even the terminals on the inverter are color-coded. Red is positive, black is negative, red to red, black to black. Now in the video you saw where I was using a double-ended extension cord like this to pull power from an outlet, from the inverter or from my generator, and push it into an outlet in the cabin so that power would circulate throughout the cabin. I am in no way recommending that you use a double-ended extension cord like this. What I recommend is that you talk to an electrician, you tell them what you're trying to achieve, and get some professional advice. Doing this allowed me to achieve the task, but I am the only one here that is going to handle the equipment, and I'm going to do so with caution. Handling a double-ended extension cord can become dangerous very fast if you're not paying attention to what you're doing. The reason being is we've been handling extension cords all our life without putting ourselves in danger. Because once we plug this end in, this is the live end, and we can handle it with no problem at all because the dangerous stuff is inside there. When you chop this off and put on another one of these and plug it in, these prongs become live, and we're not accustomed to handling this end with danger. If you're not paying attention to what you're doing, you could kill yourself. But again, I am the only one here that handles the system. I put a flag on it that says plug into hot outlet last. If I plug it into the cabin, there's no power coming from the cabin because the cabin is off the grid. So if I plug this into the cabin, Then I would plug this into the hot outlet. The hot outlet coming from the battery or the hot outlet coming from the generator. But in the video, I emphasize where I leave one end plugged into the cabin at all times, and that helps eliminate mistakes. Make sure if you do this, you put a flag on one end, something that's going to catch your attention every time you handle the cord. Now, the one thing that you want to pay attention to is the voltage that your battery is holding at. You don't want to drain it down too low, but yet you don't want to overcharge it either, because doing so will severely shorten the life of your battery. If your inverter doesn't have a voltage reading on it, pick yourself up a cheap little battery tester. Check your battery occasionally. Different batteries have different ranges. I use a bunch of old car batteries and whatnot here at the cabin. I have no idea what the safe ranges are supposed to be. But generally, I try to not let it drain much below 11.5. Occasionally, it might go a little bit lower than that. And I don't overcharge it too much more than 12.4, 12.5, somewhere in that range. If I was buying new batteries for this specifically, I would find out from the manufacturer what the safe running range is for that particular battery. So I think that answers all of the questions that have come in. If you want to learn how to do some basic wiring, just pick yourself up a book like this on home wiring. It'll walk you through the process just like it did for me. Learning how to do things yourself not only makes you feel good, but it saves you a heck of a lot of money. Like I always say, folks, saving money, well, that's just good backwoods logic. Yes, sir.